live?
Yeah, JP is not here yet to say it, but yes, we are live with the Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast. JPO will be along in just a moment. Jacob Barber is doing a comedy tonight, but he should be back next week for our all-in predictions. But as of right now, I am Austin Pez Howell running the ship tonight, and Richie Goodacre is here with me. How's it going, Richie?
Yeah, pretty good. Always happy here to talk about the wrestling, and we've got a lot to cover. Took a week off, so yeah. But the wrestling never takes a week off, which sometimes you can argue it probably should sometimes, but
I feel like we should. I feel like we should have a week off before this. Like next week, we're gonna have like not this weekend, but next weekend, where there's gonna be enough wrestling for like a month in one weekend, and I think we're gonna be exhausted by that. Yeah, wrestling does that sometimes, but I also, unfortunately, I think that's due to pettiness more than anything.
Yeah.
That's more of a.
Especially if you've got competition, you go, oh well, yeah, we'll just put it on the same day.
We'll just do 3 shows to compete with their one big show because that'll equal one big show, and we'll put our former talent on that show, and and then just be petty about it because we can't pick any other weekend to do our shows or spread them out at all.
Also, if you're like me too, and you're like a UFC fan, for some reason, even though the UFC and WWE are both the same people, TKO, sometimes, not to say this all the time, but sometimes for some reason they put their pay-per-views, UFC pay-per-view, and WWE on the same day. So I'm like, why? Like, what do you think going against each other? I don't understand. So I ended up watching like Night of Champions today after, because I'm like, stop making me choose. You're under the same umbrella. But it's just I don't know. It is one of those things. I like wrestling. It's a problem I have, but like it's literally impossible to watch everything because it's you got to
spread it out. Yeah, well, it's going to be. We'll talk about the strategy, but it's literally going to be one of those things where like I know we're going to be on here watching All In. I don't know about Richie because that's at like 3 p.m. here, which is like
I might have to
very
watch
early
it.
morning for you. I don't know if you're going to join us or not because I know that's very early for you. That's up to you. I don't know, or if you're just going to have to just plunk down and find the stream and watch it later. I don't know. I guess we haven't really talked about that since he's doing an afternoon show and not a night show. Because I know that's what like. So normally it would be, probably like what mid morning for you starting the show, but like that would be like 5 a.m. or something for you, or something like that, something goofy.
Like that, like so. Yeah, going around then, probably.
Yeah.
5
so I guess maybe if you stumble awake and maybe want to watch the main event or something like that. I don't know. Hey guys, what matter? Kenny Omega and Okada, just in time.
It's Riders again. Okay, I'm going back to bed.
No, here comes John Moxley. What's going on? Who's in here? Okay. We'll talk about the match. Boy, are they setting that up to be a WrestleMania 40 clone. Boy, they're going to set that up real hard, aren't they? To be a very like Bloodline Rules Cody Roman situation. That match is going to be maybe as overbooked, if not more overbooked than that one was. If I had to make my prediction for that, we'll talk about that eventually. We got a lot to cover tonight. We're talking Night of Champions. Obviously, we'll recap that, and then we missed. Last week's show again, that was due to me. I was on vacation, but hey, we took a week off, no big deal. We'll just be kind of catching up on the news tonight. We'll catch up on AEW, talk about some of the developments for All In. We'll talk about some of the developments in the cards for NXT's Great American Bash, for Saturday Night's main event, for Evolution. There's been developments on all those cards, so not like a full-on preview, but we'll talk about some of the stuff that's been added. We'll kind of get some quick thoughts on anything we're kind of looking forward to, and then next week we will do our official All In predictions. We'll kind of run down the complete cards for all that big weekend of shows. But let's get caught up and start get things started. So, what do you think? Should we just kick off with Night of Champions and then sort of bridge that into the other news? What do you think, Richie? Probably not.
You can kick off Night of Champions. I think in my the dog walk effect. So I'm just thinking, I'll wait till the knock on the door to confirm. But we'll go Night of Champions, and then if you have to like start off the proceedings, you do that.
No,
But yeah,
understood. Yeah, no, we'll come back to you and recap the stuff. But yeah, I mean, as with most of the WWE reviews, yeah, it wasn't like a super packed show because it was just a certain amount of matches. But we did get actually 6 matches, not the usual 5 for Saudi. I guess when Saudi shells out the money, Richie, I guess they want more people.
look,
When
we
they have
want
more of the influence on the card, we want more stars on the show. We want more matches. So I guess when
okay.
they're when they're footing the bill, for every aspect of the show, I guess Triple H is okay to oblige for that, right? So
Yeah,
when they're paying for the plane tickets and the hotels and the salaries for the wrestlers for that show, I guess they're willing to oblige. But yeah, I mean, we'll kind of weave in some of the aftermath of some of these things and some of the storyline stuff, or where they went after that, as we kind of work our way through this card. But yeah, we kicked off real big in Riyadh with the men's King of the Ring finals. So we had Cody Rhodes taking on Randy Orton. A match with a lot of history behind it. I certainly, Richie, don't think this will be the only time these guys will meet within the next year or so.
no,
If much like I'm thinking, you're probably thinking, a Randy Orton heel turn, which is, we got little teases of here and there,
yeah,
some look like that, I certainly think is on the horizon, and then you could run that back. And I don't think this will be the only time these guys will step in the ring. I may even think that could be a potential WrestleMania match next year if it was up to me, because I think there's a lot of history you could do with those guys in a build up to an even bigger, match with a different dynamic. But yeah, both these guys squared off. I think it was just too tempting for these guys not to do it. The crowd were certainly into this, treated both these guys like big stars, singing their songs, giving them big ovations, big reactions during the match. But yeah, as far as the match itself, I thought it was good. I mean, these guys definitely took, a little bit of their time. I think in the beginning, I could tell Cody and Randy, Richie were kind of soaking in just the crowd reaction for the first few minutes. You could tell they were just kind of letting it, breathe a little bit and letting them just kind of,
yeah,
the crowd was already hot for it. So let's kind of milk it a little bit, with just some little spots here and there. I'd imagine they were just kind of working around, just playing around with the crowd a little bit, doing the easy spots that you could do with these guys. Very old school, but yeah, we picked up the pace. Hit some nice, back and forth stuff. Some nice little RKOs in this one. I like the one where there was the disaster kick into the RKO. That was a good spot. There was some good Cody cutters here and there. They eventually kind of picked up the intensity. But yeah, the match really ends when Randy Orton goes to sort of be a little heelish. He goes to get a chair, has some second thoughts. Charles Robinson takes it away, but he pulls the turnbuckle pad off, but it backfires on him, and Cody's able to reverse something, shove him into there, hurts the ribs a little bit, hits the crossroads, and gets the pinfall over Randy Orton. So King Cody, Richie, is your new King of the Ring here, and he will get a guaranteed SummerSlam match. And as we fast forwarding ahead to the end of the show, getting his rematch with John Cena at SummerSlam. So Richie, your thoughts on the match and the result and where it's going with John Cena?
yeah. I mean, I think the results are a bit predictable, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Yeah. Again, I'm hoping maybe in future King of the Rings, I like King of the Rings and Money in the Banks and stuff, building up someone who's trying to get to that level as opposed to I think Cody's a main guy at this point. He's a main guy.
Well, he's already a former world champion, recently.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's not like this is his first opportunity. Like he's back in WWE and this is leading to his first championship. Like he's already been champion for a year. So yeah.
He's won the Royal Rumble twice. He's got a lot of accolades. He's a future Hall of Famer at this point. So
yeah.
But it's still it leads to where they need to go. I would say I think Cody and Orton has been sort of teased for a while now. I think you definitely do that at some point. They were definitely interested in the match where they were both sort of acting heelish. I think the crowd started booing Cody when he was sort of kind of working on, sort of working on the lit
on the back, right? Well, they worked a back injury angle on this one.
You're working on the back, and they're like, no, it's not.
Speaking of nice backs, JPO's here. JPO, how's it going?
You have a nice back, JPO.
Yeah, well, he has such a nice back because, like me, he has a nice back scratcher, so he keeps it in good shape. He keeps it, very, very nice and tidy with the back scratcher. So, it's nice and, there's no, so nice. Very nice. Oh, yeah, there you go.
So good. You get lost in it sometimes.
Oh, yeah. You're just
even
like, wait.
on the knuckles feels good, too. Is that weird? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
You're about to tell me a ghost story.
Oh, also, I'm the leprechaun. I forgot to say that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've just got into it.
We just started Night of Champions. We're still in the first match, so you're good. we just got started, and then we'll get into the news after that. We're bridging into the news off the Night of Champions, so we're getting there. But yeah, keep going, Richie, and then I'll go to JPO.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add, but yeah, there was heels tendencies there, but yeah, it was a decent match. I don't think they got to I think they were kind of taking it easy. They weren't going into didn't crack it up to third gear or anything like that. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. It's sort of, almost on par of Randy Orton's last King of the Ring match with the last year we had with Gunther. It's like, that was good. Just didn't get to that. Didn't get to that gear, but it was still worthy opener, and yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, JPO. No, we just kind of started. So yeah, your thoughts on the Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, King of the Ring finale, King Cody, and he's got a rematch shot against John Cena now. So yeah, your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm a little torn on this one just because it's a good match. I figured these two would have a good match. I don't know if I like Jade more than Cody just because I like it being someone not obvious. Cody doesn't need a King of the Ring moniker. He's not gonna do anything with the crown. I felt like he could have been a contender in a different way. Technically, could have just been a contender because he never got a rematch yet, right?
Not yet. Yeah. So I mean, he could have a case.
Right. So he really could have just been John Cena. He doesn't even need a win.
So he cheated. So he still has a case that hey, they cheated me out of this thing.
Whether it's cheating or not, they always do the whole he had a contract rematch clause. He could have just simply done that. So yeah, I don't know. I wish King of the Ring was saved more for let's build a motherfucker. You know what I mean? You got Miro, you got Aleister Black, you got all these guys that still need help building. Instead, we gave it to Cody, who held the world title for a year. I don't know. That's my only qualm is that outside the performance itself was fine.
Well, you could even make an argument. I think for somebody like a Sami Zayn who could always use the extra boost. Somebody like that.
One more oomph. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That wouldn't confident, especially bouncing off the Karrion Kross thing. If he was in the tournament and then is like, okay, I'm not champion yet, but I'm a king. I'm king of the ring. I'm entering a prestigious league of people, that have gone on to be world champions. Yeah, from
that would have been one hell of a finals is Zayn and Kross. If those two had great tournament matches leading to a finals, that would have been a great finals. Other than a guy that just held it for a year versus Randy Orton, a guy that's held it 13 times or whatever. That's my only thing. Is King of the Ring shouldn't necessarily just be, and normally hasn't been, world champions. Normally, it's building, a Brock Lesnar or a Ken Shamrock or you know what I mean.
That's what I was saying. The two guys are future Hall of Famers, and it's kind of weird when it's King of the Ring.
It felt rushed too. The fact that they were doing 4 ways, it felt kind of rushed. Oh yeah, it's Saudi. King of the Ring. Yeah, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? It felt.
Well, it's more of a product of the fact that we're doing PLEs every 3 weeks, so you don't have time to really build it up and stretch it out you could do. Yeah, they could have done.
Evolution's right around the corner, y'all.
Yeah, Evolution, and then we have SummerSlam, so we have to put some on Evolution and some on SummerSlam as far as the women's go. You know what I mean? We got to
as well.
Yeah, we had 2 nights of SummerSlams. Yeah, we got to fill that up as well. So yeah, we're gonna have to rush some feuds and some payoff matches to get there.
We'll talk about that. May be wrong this far out, but I'm still convinced Sammy's winning the Royal Rumble.
No, that's certainly a possibility. I think, especially since Saudi next year, I think everybody's kind of thinking he'll be a heavy favorite that year. But yeah, as far as switching gears here to some of the women, our first women's match of the show, we had a street fight. Rhea Ripley taking on Raquel Rodriguez, and what I thought was a pretty fun street fight ended up being pretty good stuff here, pretty entertaining. Probably one of the better Raquel matches she's had in a while. And these two have squared off before. you know, in NXT and whatnot. So we know they have that chemistry. But I thought Raquel showed a lot of fire here. Yeah, some good spots, you know, with the kendo sticks, with the table, the final riptide off the table, you know, it was pretty good at using it as a platform rather than doing it, you know, through a table as we usually do. Little Kurt Angle style, you know, if you remember like the Kurt Angle Shane McMahon, you know, doing the Olympic slam off like the wooden board, you know, kind of platform. Like I appreciate that. Just getting a little more creative with it. Yeah, we saw Roxanne get involved here a little bit, again, keeping that Judgment Day stuff going and whatnot. So little planted seeds there. You could definitely do something with those two in the future. Yeah, well, overall, what I thought was a pretty entertaining street fight for a match I didn't have a whole lot of expectation for. I thought it ended up being pretty damn entertaining, a lot of fun. But JPO, what do you think about this street fight here?
Yeah, no, these two work pretty well together. They go back to their NXT days, and they said in the hype video. But they've been feuding too, which I like that. I like when you can see, you know, whether it's a Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, you know, from NXT all the way to a pay-per-view and whatnot. So it's cool that these two, as you said, a good showing for Raquel too, who has definitely been kind of a B player, but like a strong B player, but still a B player, having a good one-on-one match here too, holding her own. I just looked it up. Yeah, this is outside of Payback 2023, where she fought Rhea Ripley. This is only her second singles match on a PLE. Like she's been, you know, she's been in some good matches, you know, tag title matches and Chambers and Money in the Banks, but this is her first time, or only her second singles match. So thought she looked good.
Yeah,
and
for
Rhea's
sure.
mother.
Yeah, definitely. And the crowd certainly thought so too. They were very much into Rhea Ripley here on the show. Very, very into her.
That chick is over like Rover wherever she goes. She is
that's
a
what
star.
I mean.
Like,
she doesn't need the title all the time. I mean, not that I'm opposed to her being in the title picture, but you know, all these people think she should have the title. Just she doesn't need it. Like she's she's the most over woman on this roster. So I mean, she's always going to be in and around that title picture no matter what. You know, I think whether she has it or not, or she's feuding with other people, you can always slide her into the title picture because she's just that over. I mean, she just is.
But,
so,
and that argument, like, oh, she's really over, so because she's really over, so she should have the title, is weird because you know who's also really over and has a title? Io Sky. Just keep anyway. Just I don't know. You shouldn't need the title just because you're really over. I don't know. Io Sky's over. I don't know. But yeah, I thought this match was pretty damn good. I thought they had good chemistry. I was surprised they had a hype package for this, but I'm pleasantly surprised. I was like, all right, cool. It makes matches seem important when you have hype packages for them, not just like something that was slotted together the last second. I do feel bad for like this is sort of a sign of things come like bad for the women, like in the sense that like come the Royal Rumble, I feel like they're gonna be glad when that match finishes because they're gonna be fucking sweaty.
Oh, and it's gonna be weird because they're all gonna be dressed like Catwoman, like in full like bodysuits.
I hate that. You know, just as a dude.
I just think they need to get really creative with the colors just so we can distinguish people when they're in the ring. You can't have everybody in a black suit. You know, that's gonna be a very,
I would say
like
Rhea and Raquel look like they could.
They're like very they're very similar.
Yeah.
You cut out for just a second, but I'm assuming you said they had very similar outfits because I think they did, right? Like she had
Rhea and Raquel,
Yeah. One had like it was like a piercing thing, and the other one was like a chain thing. Like they were kind of interchangeable a little bit, to a degree.
You could say they were a tag team, I believe you. Yeah.
Yeah, well, at least Jade like went with the all white thing. Later, she kind of looked like Storm from like the X-Men a little bit, is I think what she was going for. So that's at least great. Yeah, I hope come Royal Rumble time, let's get creative with colors, and maybe work them to the gimmicks a little bit, to the best you can, just to kind of distinguish everybody. But it is going to be interesting.
Naomi had a good outfit that I actually didn't even think about Saudi Arabia. It looked like her character.
Right. Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, Richie, I mean, mostly you got some of your thoughts out there, but anything else you want to get out there?
No, just good match, and I wouldn't know. I think it'd be cool to see Raquel get more opportunities, so just being slotted into a tag division, and going forward, it's probably still gonna be in the tag, but it'd be cool. Cool eventually if she gets like more singles opportunities because she is good. So and she was quite over before her time away and then coming back to the Judgment Day. So I think she can. I do hope she gets a big push at some point because I think there is something there. She's, she does have ability, charisma. Yeah, so I don't know. I think she probably will. I have more faith that she'll get a push than maybe some other people.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of people that may or may not get pushes or seem to be caught and cold with the pushes, Karrion Kross taking on Sami Zayn here. And JPO, yeah, as we get our thoughts, so you'll have to let me know when the last time you had a PLE match. I swear it's probably been, 2 years at least, a year or
Oh
two.
wait, hold on, Cross.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, I looked this up previously. Only time he ever did it was him and Drew when he first came back again, like 03, 02. Or 2022 rather. Or 2023.
You could have told me all three. I would believe you.
I would have believed you. 20 years, yeah, it sure feels like it.
No, I remember myself thinking, like, has he had one? Yeah, him and Drew had that feud when he first came back, if you remember. But other than that, no, it's that, and it's literally just that, and then like the 6-man of Mania. But singles wise, only Drew.
I was gonna say, yeah, he was on WrestleMania, yeah, and that.
He beat the Pride. They beat the Pride. The Pride.
Yeah, the Pride before they took off for AEW. Yeah. But yes, for sure. So yeah, we did have finally one-on-one here. Zayn and Cross getting some time. What I thought was a pretty fun match. I think these guys had chemistry in the ring. It felt like they were going very quickly to kind of get the spots in. But I thought Sammy looked good. He looked kind of like the Sammy of old. He got a little pep in his step, which I appreciate. I think Karrion plays his part well when he's able to get in there and wrestle. I wish we saw it more often, him actually getting in the ring a little more than just him popping in for, backstage segments here and there. At least they had a little bit of a follow-up with it on Raw with him kind of once again, going after Zayn. So they're keeping it going at least a little bit. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere. We'll see, see if he lasts the summer or not. I know that contract is coming up, right? I think sometime in the next couple of months, I believe. It seems like it's kind of looming, if he ends up staying with the company and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I at least thought, this is a pretty fun match for what it was. Wasn't the match of the night, probably not. But good stuff overall. Richie, what do you think? Good to at least see Cross in the ring.
Yeah. I've been wanting Cross to have a push for a while. I think there's a lot of upside. I'll be honest, when he first came in, and there was a lot like when they were circling his sign for the first time, and like, oh, dude, they really want Karrion Kross, and I'm like, when he finally came in, I'm like, oh, he's got a good entrance, but like, I don't know, I don't get it necessarily. But yeah, over time, you're like, nah, I get he's, yeah, I get it, and yeah, and he had a good match. Yeah, I think he's just good at the storytelling aspect of the match as well. I think that like just because like they're in the middle of they're still continuing that feud. I think that they're pretty confident that that him and Scarlett will probably re-sign, but we'll see what happens. Things can break down, but I would admit it would surprise me a little bit if they didn't, because I think he wants that. Yeah, he's been wanting an opportunity for a while. It looks like he's finally getting it, and like getting at least some ribbon of it. So yeah, I don't know whether this like push will sort of culminate or whether it be to the satisfaction of people. Probably not to everybody because a lot of wrestling fans are whinges, but but I'm cool that like Karrion Kross is sort of getting these opportunities, and but yeah, it is one of those things too where like he's wrestling Sammy and then pushing Sammy. It's like you almost don't want to beat either guy because Karrion Kross is like this guy you want to push. He's getting his renewed push, and he's got this sort of fan support behind him. Even in Saudi, they'll kind of mix like, and Sammy, it was like, well, yeah, I feel like he's getting they're finally getting the push around him where he might actually end up winning the title, maybe. So, but yeah, you don't really want it. So I guess, yeah, out of the two, you'd want to, but maybe Sammy, but. Yeah, it is tough. But yeah, the match itself was pretty good, and I'm just glad that it was on the card because I was surprised that it was actually I didn't think it was going to be added, to be honest. Maybe because AJ and Dominic didn't happen. I don't know.
It could be. Yeah, we found out that was because Dominic has some kind of minor rib injury, so we don't know. Apparently, it's not serious. He's not serious so where he needs to drop the title or anything. They're saying he should be ready to go for at least for SummerSlam. So maybe that match will just happen at SummerSlam. We'll just get pushed off a little bit. So no big deal. We'll probably, especially with the 2-night format, that's probably going to happen on SummerSlam. Like you got to fill out matches for that thing. So I would imagine.
Dominic was like, "Hey, look, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I have my doctor's note. If you if you want to get your old man glasses out, you read it." He's like, "Old man glasses," and he pauses.
And he pulls out old man glasses. That was pretty funny. JPO, any quick thoughts on Sammy and finally getting Karrion Kross on a PLE for the first time in a long time?
As I said, October and November of 2022, he had back-to-back matches with Drew. He did win the first one too. A win over Drew in a strap match, return the favor in a cage match, and then there's a Rumble, that random LA Knight SummerSlam Battle Royal, just put him over. Another Rumble, the 6-man tag in Mania, which I forgot they lost that, the Pride one.
They did lose that.
And then not even at this year's Rumble too. A lot of people were surprised that he got no love for the Rumble, but not a lot of matches on TV. Even the build up to this, his last 4 matches have all been main event. The show, not an actual main event overall. And then before that, it's the Andre Battle Royal on SmackDown. So give the dude some ring time. I'm choking on a bluey gummy.
There you go. Say it's kind of like Kaiser, who's been like on main event but not on TV. It's been odd.
I mean, he might have been on TV.
Well, at least I remember. I guess I'd rather be Cross. At least he's on TV. I forgot Kaiser was even. I thought Kaiser was hurt.
Kaiser might have been on TV recently. You don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about. El Grande Americano was on TV.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I don't know what
Kaiser's been wrestling on main event. Why would you think they have anything to do with each other?
I guess I don't know. I've heard rumors. I don't know. I mean,
El Grande Americano's a luchador, and Kaiser's from like Germany. What are you talking about?
And he's from Germany, but people can be whatever they want these days. You know what I mean?
Maybe he's also a fan. So what? A lot of people are fans of El Grande. I'm a fan of El Grande Americano.
Yeah,
El Grande Americano. That's silly. Come on. That's dumb. Anyway, so moved on to our United States Championship match. A match, by the way, we all got wrong. Apparently, most of the internet did as well. Jacob Fatu being defeated by Solo Sikoa, and to be fair, with the help of about 3 other people in this match. So not exactly a fair fight here. But Solo Sikoa giving Jacob Fatu his first pinfall loss, I believe, here in WWE. He's been a part of like losing tag matches but not taking the pin, things like that, but I believe his first pinfall loss here in WWE. But it's the first one. People don't panic, and then again, it was also a 4-on-1 situation, so relax. He's not buried. He's going to be fine. He's going to get it back at some point. But due to the help of a debuting Hikuleo, who we found out we heard about the copyrighted name, or the one the Talatanga looks like it's going to be as well, which Michael Cole completely had a rough night. It was just like the Tonga, the brother of the big guy, he's tall and like it's just I was like, what?
The tall motherfucker.
Yeah, the tall guy. Okay, you didn't tell us anything, but all right. I guess he's a brother vaguely. Yes, the Hikuleo, Talatanga, whatever you like to call him, debuts, takes out Jacob Fatu, and helps Solo Sikoa get the pinfall victory. And your new United States champion is Solo Sikoa, winning his first singles title, I believe, here in WWE. So his first major title.
Yeah, on the main roster. Yeah, North American NXT. First main roster title,
First main roster title. But JPO, your thoughts on Solo Sikoa, new champion here, Jacob Fatu taking his first loss, and Hikuleo. Yeah.
Looking back, I think we all made a mistake by not giving Solo enough credit, because if you think about it, like, where does the storyline go? Jacob beats Solo, so it looks more like a Punk at the end. You know what I mean? And I always figured the numbers were stacked against them. Even before, the Hikuleo debut, I would, because you never sure if they were going to put him on the good side, the bad side, or whatever. But, and then we got Tama back now for time. Who knows where the other one is. So, no, I mean, good enough match here. Good, keeps the storyline going. We're still got Bloodline fighting Bloodline. We could definitely do a 6-man tag soon if you wanted. Maybe soon an 8-man tag. They're all signed.
There's that War Games thing they always build every year. Have another Bloodline War Games thing with Solo's team and Fatu's team as he maybe recruits the Usos or like a Zilla Fatu or something at some point, or Lance NOI, thing like that. Bringing some more peoples. Here and
I
there.
didn't think they were going to do War Games this year, but then they announced it.
They announced it and put out a poster for it and advertised Roman Reigns. So yeah, that's.
So I was like, okay, they're just going to do War Games. Initially,
yeah,
it was like,
I mean, it would either be that or something involving the Seth Rollins faction, you know what I mean, against like a CM Punk faction. I could see that happening as well.
I'd almost prefer that just because it's something different as opposed to
I would imagine, it may or may not be that, but yeah, as JPO said, I would imagine some 6-man tags around the corner. Fatu maybe having to form some brief alliances with maybe like the Usos or something, some former enemies.
Jimmy's getting involved now,
Because as crazy as Fatu is, and as much as he's all gas and no brakes, it's still a numbers game, like a 4-on-1 type of situation. You can only push it so far. He's gonna be taking the beatings. He's gonna get jumped. It's gonna be too much for him. He's gonna have to break out, make some friends. So there's definitely a storyline there where you could develop in his chase, to get it back. So I would imagine maybe at a SummerSlam we get like some kind of maybe a 6-man tag. That's how you work Jay and Jimmy into SummerSlam. Given the fact that Jay obviously didn't win King of the Ring. He might be not have a lot to do right now, but you slide him into there, and then he's back on the card, in a prominent match. But Richie, your thoughts?
Yeah, two things I'll mention because I think things here, but it's a good match. I think Solo, Solo has a good record in Saudi Arabia, so they could have meant that he beat Roman and Cena.
We could have taken that into account on our predictions, because he does.
And I like how there was gaslighting in the video package, by the way, where apparently Michael Cole did call Jeff Cobb Daisy Mateo. No, he didn't. He called him Jeff Cobb.
Okay. Yeah, that was the following week on SmackDown. But we'll definitely see where the storyline goes. I do think JPO Solo has shown improvement, and I don't know if you agree with it, at least in his character work. Maybe not so much in his in-ring work, but I think his character work has improved drastically as far as him showing a lot more personality lately, making fun of people, having a little more fun with it. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think he's always been a decent in-ring competitor. I think unfortunately though, Jacob Fatu came in and was like just a little bit quicker, a little bit better, a little bit bigger. Like it was like a little just Solo turned up a notch in almost every level. So he got a little lost in the shuffle, unfortunately, because of that. Because obviously, at some point, Solo was more of the focus. He was one of the first ones really to be called up in the Bloodline feud. You know what I mean? Like Usos already out there or whatnot. But no, I think because of showing this different side of character, it's been good character work. I even enjoyed. He has a couple of funny moments on the post scrum.
Oh yeah,
no breaks, whatever. And he's having fun with that. So, see a different side of him. Like now he's gone from just kind of the silent enforcer to, okay, I'm trying to keep things together and I'm trying to be the leader, but it's falling apart. But God damn it, I'm trying, and I have the numbers now,
Yeah, no, and I like it. It's almost like he's just making fun of other people's gimmicks, the character work. I like even some stuff in the match where he was doing like the Fatu kind of shaky stuff and just goofing around a little bit, making fun of it. Yeah, it's fun. And is it to the point where I'd call him like most improved, when we get to our end of the year awards? I don't know, but I certainly think he might be with his character work at least. Yeah,
he made the case at the moment being a potential nominee for sure.
Yeah,
see how it rolls. Does his reign end up just, being a month long? Does he have the title for a minute? Can he have really good matches? We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, he's definitely in the conversation right now. But yeah, we moved on to as you alluded to earlier, our Queen of the Ring finals, and again an outcome I think you were a little more satisfied with as far as for the premise of the King and the Queen of the Ring. Jade Cargill taking out Asuka in this finals. Only 8 minutes and 35 seconds, the shortest match on the show. Fairly quick, maybe quicker than what I thought it was going to be. And what match I thought it was okay. I thought Asuka kind of did her best to kind of carry Jade a little bit. Jade seems very choreographed still and kind of very, little clunky here and there. I think she still has potential, but a little frustrating how she hasn't improved as much, as I think she probably should have, especially with her promo work. But I think she'll get there, but maybe she still needs, I think, a little bit of polish here and there. But still probably maybe the right outcome for where they're going, because I can see this again leading to a situation with Naomi over on SmackDown and Tiffany, and maybe a potential cash in. We'll see. With Naomi and Jade, obviously kind of moving towards that. So with their history, even Bianca maybe getting involved in that. But Richie, your thoughts on the Queen of the Ring finale here?
This is why I stupidly now in hindsight put Asuka. Oh, I didn't want to put Asuka and not Jade, because I thought maybe they realized, okay, like maybe we, maybe it's not her, maybe not her time yet. That we'll get, we've got to, and I like the idea of Asuka and Sky at SummerSlam, which we still might get. I don't know, but
I think we could potentially see a three-way with them, maybe, and even Rhea. I think there's a possibility.
I forgot about Rhea thing. But I think we'll still get that down the line. But I don't know, because I don't know. In my opinion, being kind to this match, I thought this was I didn't think they had chemistry at all. That was very clunky. It was just very. There's just a lot of spots that were missed and botched, and even the crowd went into it really. I think they were saving themselves for the main event. And the finish sort of came out of nowhere, and the crowd didn't even react to it. And then she tried to cut this inspirational promo, which the crowd didn't react to at all. Just like, okay. I'm just like, I didn't think this match was very good.
I wonder when it comes time for the eventual Naomi and Jade thing, if the crowd's going to just cheer for Naomi, even though she's technically the heel in the feud. You know what I mean? I wonder if that's going to happen organically. That might. There's a distinct possibility.
I actually think Jade's better as a heel, but that's just, I don't know. I just think, she's got
it's like, giant Jade Cargill in peril, in matches. It's a little, odd. She might work back, and maybe eventually they'll do that, because that might be more of her natural inclination, with her look and everything too. So we'll see.
I wasn't a fan, but the result makes sense for where they're going.
JPO, thoughts on Jade and Asuka?
I'm with you very much on Jade. I think unfortunately she hasn't gotten to the point that we kind of thought she could or would hope for at this point, because they're obviously still into her. I mean, she won fucking Queen of the Ring, so obviously they're still into her. It does worry me a little bit, where I don't necessarily think she's main event ready. I don't. So I'm okay with the outcome, because again, I like that she's a strong mid-carder, that give her that extra push. That makes sense. If you want to play with the Queen thing, you can, although I feel like they're not going to with her. They could actually, but we'll see. But match was all right, but like I said, 9 minutes, and jury's still kind of out on Jade, I feel.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out, but obviously I think we'll see where it plays out with the Naomi stuff will come into play. Maybe sooner rather than later, SummerSlam. We'll see. Looking at a potential double cash in, I think, in SummerSlam. I don't think it's out of the question. I don't know. We'll talk about that. And going into our main event here, we had a match that had direct implications to SummerSlam. Obviously, the winner, your winner of King of the Ring, would go on to face the winner of this match, John Cena and CM Punk. Finally stepping into the ring for maybe JPO can let me the last time they actually went one-on-one in WWE. I'm sure it's been probably at least 12 years, something like that. been a minute. Yeah, I'm sure you can look that up while I'm talking about this. But John Cena putting his title on the line and defeating CM Punk, of course, after a healthy dose of shenanigans, as usual, as with a lot of these main events lately here in WWE. Seth Rollins' crew getting involved, teasing a cash-in, but having another great meme moment with John Cena wiping out poor Charles Robinson.
Oh, yeah. I was going to mention Charles Robinson. When you mentioned Charles Robinson before, man, I mean, he had his working boots on. Holy hell.
Almost recreating sort of his, WrestleMania run, only to be pounced in midair
Holy
by
shit.
John Cena, which was again, I've already seen memes of like people making gifs of like oh me rushing towards like a weekend and then somebody cutting it off or whatever, things like that. Those kind of memes.
You see, there's a photo online. Apparently, he stayed down until everybody had left the arena.
Yeah, I mean, good on him. Yeah, that's tough to do.
He was looking so good.
Yeah, poor guy. They're like trying to tear down the ring. Nobody's doing it. Charles Robinson, poor guy. But yeah, no, I mean, good on him. He's great. I love Charles Robinson. But yeah, him getting involved. Yeah, the cash-in getting kind of thwarted by that. Yeah, Penta getting involved, taking his casual, sweet time, getting down to the ring, still doing his little strutting. I'm gonna come out, but I'm gonna do my little literal tiptoeing to the ring. So okay, but yeah, Jey Uso getting all kinds of people getting involved here in this one, but eventually near the end, John Cena goes to use the title, thinks secondly of it, but eventually still takes down CM Punk. Well, he attempts a low blow, but then eventually still gets the pinfall. Still cheats a little bit to win. Still showing that sign. He gave the same little look as they did the little hug, that he did at Elimination Chamber when they did the little embrace, hanging on to. But yeah, a match I thought was on its way to kind of being a pretty good match. I thought again, too many AAs. How many hit in this match? Like 5, 6 AAs.
Oh, God.
Jesus. God damn, just over and over and over again.
And you just
it's getting to the point of like absurdity. It's like, Cena, you got any other moves besides your 5 moves of doom in the AA? Like anything?
I'm being honest.
I don't think he does. Yeah, he might not at this point. I don't know. But yeah, it's getting to the point of a little bit of absurdity. But I thought CM Punk was at least trying to get a good match out of him, putting his working boots on. If anybody was going to try to get a good match out of him, I thought it would be, Punk for sure here. Yeah, I mean, I think it was on his way to being good, but maybe a little frustrating given the fact that it just kind of broke down to the usual sort of, overbooked shenanigans with the ref bumps and the, the cash-in teases and everybody, getting involved. But JPO, yeah, your thoughts on the title match here and all the shenanigans and whatnot, and where we're going after that.
Yeah, and this one, unlike the Jacob Fight, I think many people did call shenanigans on this one here. We knew this would be probably filled with some outside stuff here because as much as I love Punk, I never really thought he had a chance. Although kudos to their build-up, I enjoyed seeing this pipe bomb.
The build was good.
Yeah.
The Punk life, Dr. Thugonomics
so
Punk.
Fun. So
yes.
they had some fun. They came up with some good stuff to make this a fun memory to last, hopefully, for John Cena, who I don't know if this has ever been really like totally reported on too. I know lately he's been a little more specific too, saying he's around till December, and lately he's even been saying mid-December too. So he's always been vague as to how long. So he's definitely sticking around till December, not November, December. So I just thought that would be interesting to note. I mean, long, but still a good story. So I was at least invested in it, and in that case, but maybe could have been chopped down a little bit, as we say here. These two, they've done some Raw stuff and some world title stuff. Last time we saw them in a singles match was Night of Champions, 2012.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, good. 13 years to the day almost then. Okay. Interesting. Nice. If anybody was, again, I was at least looking forward to the promos, as you said, in the build up, which they at least try to get creative with it and have a little fun. Yeah, I love that we didn't really get a chance to talk about it last week because we were off, but yeah, the spin on the pipe bomb was a lot of fun, with him doing some of the same beats, the sitting in the ring, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I just love John Cena's old music. So it was fun for them to hit, see his old Thugonomics music and Punk coming out doing his best rap stuff. Maybe not the greatest, stuff. He had a couple of good lines, but you can tell it's not really his forte. But I think that was kind of the point.
I think it was interesting that if you looked into it, like what Cena, like when the names he dropped obviously were like Matt Cardona and Nick Nemeth and Claudio. So you got Matt Cardona, like Matt and Nick, Young Bucks, and then you got Claudio, Castagnoli, CC, Colt Cabana. So all 3 people he had to go at the press conference.
Yeah,
so that infamous press conference. I thought that was a unique way.
Well, I also think it also may have been a double thing with that, and the fact that one's like an indie guy, one's a TNA guy, and one's an AEW guy. So you had like one of each. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pretty prominent guys from kind of one of each area of
Yeah.
wrestling as well.
Yeah.
Because Carter and all former WWE guys too, obviously.
Yeah.
So the under different names now. So it makes
Kevin
sense.
Owens had a funny, like Kevin Owens was on like Cody's podcast that they do, and he had a funny one. He's like, "Look, I love Matt Cardona, but I'm like, you can't call yourself King of the Indies when you're always whinging in interviews about how you want to go back to WWE." I don't know. It's just sort of funny. I don't know. It was funny that they even talked about that. It's just and then made Cody laugh when he. But yeah, I mean, in terms of this match, I also thought it was a nice touch at the end, right? Because like at Elimination Chamber, the way Cena eliminated Punk was that Seth hit Punk with stomp, and then Cena capitalized and Cena capitalized, and this is exactly what happened again. So I'm not sure if could lead to maybe like some sort of like three-way down, like sort of maybe a triple threat down the line if Cody doesn't beat Cena, which I actually think he will. But yeah, this was, I don't know, very smoke and mirror, very much smoke and mirrors. I wouldn't mind seeing like Braun and Braun win the tag titles now that we've got other. But I mean, yeah, I didn't expect New Day to lose the titles to another heel team, but it is what it is. We'll get to that. But yeah, I just think that would give it would give the tag title some like sort of more prominence if it were featured on like a main card.
Who did they lose to again? The New Day? I'm so cold on the fucking tag team.
They lost to JD and Finn again.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about that. That's how much I don't care about the tag team division on Raw. Oh yeah, that's right. Finn and JD are tag team champions again.
They were working as total baby faces. They're working the match.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's odd, but I guess I mean I'm not opposed to having the two Brawns maybe step into the tag team division temporarily to kind of like if they start to do this sort of takeover as a faction, and also the fact you could do a little mini kind of faction warfare at least with the Judgment Day and this like Paul Heyman faction, you could at least kind of do that a little bit, right? A little back and forth for a little while could lead to something there. So yeah,
the rumor like I don't know how long it would be, like maybe sometime down the line of potentially adding someone like Ethan Page to the faction, which wouldn't be opposed to. He fits, or even like a Ricky Stakes. So
I mean, I could definitely see a fourth person still getting added at some point. I don't think we need it right now because I think we still got a solid enough faction at the moment. But yeah, maybe post SummerSlam or something, I could see them adding another person. And for God's sakes, can we get a name for the faction at some point? Like
they did like trademark something, but I can't remember what it was. It was something that he's like talked about. I think we are getting a name. It's
like the Visionaries or something like that, or
something like that. The Oracle, I think it was called, like the main.
The Oracle.
Yeah,
but that's like a singular thing.
Yeah, I know. I think people just speculate because they trademarked that and said they talked about it. So unless there's something else coming.
Oh, okay. So that's okay. So they officially, I'm trying to look and see. I'm seeing like news things about trademark filings for new. I mean, they've trademarked some new names, so that's not anything new because they trademark names of people that are coming up or whatever, or things that are gonna assign to people later. Because I think they officially trademarked JC Mateo, that should make sense. Talatonga, obviously, we talked about got trademarked before he debuted, so that made sense. But yeah, I just would like to. Hey, by SummerSlam, can we get a name for these guys so we could bill them as something? That'd be nice.
Yeah.
So, at least something. I didn't even mind if they just called it like a new Dangerous Alliance. Like I'm fine with that. If it's just Paul Lee, I'm not opposed to that. Pretty simple. But yeah, sort of let's JPO, your overall thoughts on Night of Champions as a show, score, thumbs up, thumbs down. What you think overall?
I mean, I'm not going to be a stickler to say thumbs down. I think you have to have either a really angering booking decision or some dreadful matches for me to go thumbs down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I saw your mouth moving. I didn't hear any words, Bez.
I'm waiting for you.
Oh, did you hear what I said though?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay, weird. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm sorry. So no, it's a technical thumbs up. But at the same time, nothing to write home about. Match wise, almost like the thing I want to say, go out of your way to see is the Charles Robinson spear or shoulder tackle.
But you can see that like on
Go
Twitter,
YouTube
like a
that.
GIF.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yeah, like I don't really know. Like the build up was more fun than necessarily the execution for Punk and Cena. Although it was good, so I don't know. It's like a solid 6.9.
Yeah. Right. Richie.
Yeah. Saudi's had a couple of running down the ramp iconic spots now. Obviously, the Titus O'Neil thing they played to death. Yeah. I'm sort of in that park as well. I don't think like sometimes, even though like obviously they make a big deal about the Saudi shows, there's also at the same time don't feel like a big deal. If you know what I mean? I don't know. It's weird. It's like they always just feel like a stopgap to a bigger show. Obviously, Royal Rumble won't feel like that, and we'll get to that. There's also a rumor that they're thinking of doing 2 WrestleManias and one at Saudi, which hopefully they're going to do that. But yeah, I don't know. I thought the none of not. I mean, I thought the Jade match was bad, like, but not like horrific bad or anything like that. And other matches were like good to okay. So nothing to write. It's a perfectly fine show. I'll go 6.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that 6 or 6.5 territory as well because it wasn't like a bad show. Like I didn't think anything on this was like overall stinky. Like again, Jade and Asuka was kind of clunky, but all the other matches were like watchable. They were entertaining. The street fight was entertaining. Sammy and Karen was entertaining. Cody and Rhodes was basic but entertaining. The main event was a clusterfuck as usual, but had its moments. So yeah, nothing to super write home about. The crowd was at least hot. The crowd kept it going, for the most part. So kudos to them for at least being lively and whatnot as they have been. I mean, they've been better crowds in Saudi than there used to be. You remember those old crown jewels where the crowd was just sitting on their hands for like the entire show,
Yeah.
just bored out of their skulls, like they were forced to be there at gunpoint or something. Like just and now at least lately the crowds have been into it. Yeah, they've at least been lively.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Like I couldn't, like, in the early Saturdays, I couldn't help but be distracted by like the 3 people in the front like row, like just going back and forth. It clearly also, but like clearly had power, but didn't want to be there, so just be like walking back and forth. It's like
yeah.
It's definitely better. It's definitely better than and like those early Saudi shows that they weren't they didn't feel canon, because you would get like obviously your DX versus Brothers of Destruction, or I think John Cena versus Triple H randomly on that show. It's just like, but now it does feel like it's more integrated into the stories. So that's good. But yeah, I think over time I think it's got more important. But yeah, so it is better in that regard.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's Night of Champions overall. Again, a marginal thumbs up, but probably nothing you need to go out of your way to watch if you missed it. A few newsworthy things, but we'll stick with WWE just for the moment. Maybe talk about some of the follow up because we do have a big weekend coming up in about a week and a half, or just about 10 days or so. At the same time as All In, which we'll talk about All In. We'll pivot to AEW and kind of focus on them in a little bit, but we had some more developments and official stuff for Saturday Night's Main Event and for Evolution coming up. So just touching on Saturday Night's Main Event, only 2 matches announced so far officially. I wonder if we'll probably get maybe at least 2 more announced, maybe on Raw or whatnot. This final Raw for the go home show. I imagine we'll get some more stuff, maybe even on SmackDown this tomorrow evening. The only 2 matches officially so far are I'm sure JPO is looking forward to Goldberg and Gunther, of course, for the World Heavyweight Heavyweight title. The question is, will it have a commercial break, or will it be long enough to have a commercial break, or not? That's the question. But yeah, Saturday night's commercial event as it's becoming known, and we'll see. But we did have also Seth Rollins and LA Knight. LA Knight attacked Seth Rollins on Raw the other night, so they are continuing kind of a little bit of their follow-up feud. So, that's what we got so far. Some speculative matches. We'll see what gets added. But JPO, how's it looking so far? I know you're super excited for that main event in Atlanta with Goldberg, the hometown hero. But at least it's looking like it'll be a one and done. So at least it'll be done for, and we can move on to other projects, because it certainly seemed like on Raw we did get a little thing of where Rollins and Punk kind of, had a little back and forth while Gunther was in the ring, and then Punk and Gunther had kind of a little shoving thing where he shoved him down and they kind of stare off. I wonder if we'll then pivot to a Punk Gunther thing, which I would be much more excited about as a match for sure, and as a program, both as a match and a war of words, because I think those guys could throw down in some promos as well. So hopefully we get this out of the way and move on to a program I would care much more about, JPO. But your thoughts on Saturday's main event so far, and what else could we possibly add to the show? Because obviously they got to at least add 2 more matches, I would imagine. They usually have 4 at least, right? It's got to be, right?
Something like that.
Yeah,
it depends, because it is Saturday's main event. We mentioned before, they're big on commercials. They do a talking segment, so it really depends on what they want to do, how long they want to give these matches still. Though I don't think anyone. That's the question for you: is will Goldberg and will they go commercial break? Just get the entrances out, maybe then commercial.
If you had to, I would do entrances, then a commercial, then start the match. At least that's the way I would try to go. Yeah, not during a match, for God's sakes, because that needs to be longer than 3 minutes.
I'm just over it. As long as he doesn't win the title, I will be fine the next day. But if he wins the title, man, I'm not going to be happy.
He might quit life for a little while. Yeah, he's going to be like, I'm going to take a break from wrestling for a little while. I'll be back. So there you go. Richie, your thoughts on the lineup so far and what could be added? We got to get at least.
What match I cut out from second. He said, obviously, there's Gunther, Goldberg, and what was the other
one? Seth Rollins and LA Knight will follow up with their stuff.
Oh, yeah. Because I do know, because they already take SmackDown, so I do know that there's a couple of matches and at least one that I can think of something made that's announced, but I don't want to go spoiler territory in this case. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
We'll wait, because we'll run down the whole card next week anyways, especially if they announce stuff.
Yeah.
We'll preview and run down everything next week, so I'm not going to worry about that. We're just talking about what they've announced so far.
They do add more stuff that card, which is a bit more intriguing, I'll say. But yeah, I mean, Gunther Goldberg is whatever. Hopefully, Gunther does what he says in his tweet, and he's going to beat him in a few minutes. But I mean, but it'll seem longer because of ads. And Seth LA Knight, I mean, it'll be a good match. It seems almost. I was going to say it seems a bit random, but not. I guess not really, because he was feuding with them. But I thought it was more feuding with Braun Breaker than the actual group. But it'll still be a good match, and. So it'll be setting up for the LA Knight to be kind of just a main fixture on Raw at some point. He might just get traded to Raw. It's kind of looking that way, and it's looking like they're teasing something between like maybe Punk and Knight at some point down the road as well. I think Punk's just going to feud with everybody. It just seems like.
But yeah, I mean, I again, if they go the Gunther route, which it seems like teasing for the next thing, which makes me believe that Gunther will most likely retain the title. I don't think they're going to put on Goldberg. I would hope not. But yeah, I even a few years ago, I would be excited for just Gunther and CM Punk just in the ring together. But again, their promos I think could be great, given Gunther's improved promo skills over the last year or so. I think they could have some really fun back and forth just on the microphone. I think it'd be really fun.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be great. And I think they think that would be great too, because I think that's what they're building towards. I can definitely see that. I can, because I think if I see Cody beating Cena, and then he'll feel like a SmackDown. So it makes sense for like, potentially, if Punk has more of a chance being Gunther and sort of being that marquee guy on Raw. Because if you don't, unless you wanted to, do a draft, which I at this point I don't even know if that's
I'm just gonna say it's not happening until they officially say it's happening. It's like when we hear about movies that like get announced, but we don't believe it until we actually see a trailer. I'm kind of the same way with this draft. Like I'll believe it when I see an official announcement of that they're doing it. Yeah, who knows? But yeah, so. Saturday night's main event will be going down in Atlanta. We have kind of a more updated card for Evolution, which is happening the next night after that. Got some official matches. The card's kind of coming together for that. So as of right now, I gotta reload this page again. Okay, anyways, it was like cut out my thing. As of right now, we got Io Sky taking on Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. So that match will be happening most likely the main event there. We got an NXT Women's Championship match. JC Jane taking on Jordan Grace for the NXT Women's Championship.
I'm using that if you want.
I'm going to go to you guys for your thoughts on just this card in general. So give me a second, Richie, I promise. And you can read that in. We got a Intercontinental Championship match as we kind of thought was going to happen. A triple threat match: Becky Lynch, Bayley, and Lyra scoring off for that title. Got Raquel and Roxanne Perez officially going to be linked up and allowed to defend the tag team titles against 3 teams to be announced. I think there's some SmackDown spoilery stuff where they've announced a few of them, but we'll leave that for next week. Until it's official. And then there will be a women's battle royal, and we'll see who will be involved in that. I imagine some NXT people might be involved with that one as well. When it's all said and done, maybe even a TNA competitor or two. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a little there. But Richie, your thoughts on the card, and if you had some news on that, that's fine.
So the card in general here looks cool. I think they've had to pivot a couple of times. So obviously, I think the Liv Morgan injury. Obviously, I think it's going to be. Liv and maybe Nikki or the Bella twins or whatever. And they've had to pivot a couple of times. But card itself looks pretty good. I imagine. I don't know. I think I see a battle royal like that and go, yep, this is a battle royal for, hey, get on the show, get a payday.
And it's a battle royal tailor-made for somebody like Stephanie Vicker to win it.
Probably.
We'll talk about that. Yeah, most likely somebody like that. They're pushing.
Yes.
Probably. Yeah, it is weird that they said the winner of that battle royal is going to get a shot at Clash of Paris, which is like post SummerSlam. A little weird. So a little strange there. But all right.
So in regards
down the line.
So in regards to Jordan Grace and Io Sky, not Jordan Grace and JC Jane. The winner of that is going to face Marsha Slamovich at Slammiversary in a winner take all match. So that's pretty big there. So
speaking of Slammiversary, I think there's also an announcement that at the Great American Bash they're going to have like a contract signing segment with Trick and Joe Hendry and Mike Santana for Slammiversary. Yeah, that should be a pretty big match. And I believe that one's also is that in New York? The Slammiversary is in New York, right? So that could be Mike Santana's night to finally win the title. I would say if I had to.
I think Santana should win that.
Yeah. But that should be pretty significant there. So, JPO, your thoughts on the Evolution card so far? Anything you're particularly looking forward to or kind of excited about on that?
No, I mean, what's it out so far is good. Just a little bit more. I feel like we're getting close, and I feel like we should be celebrating this pay-per-view more. Our pay-per-view should have never, went away, even if we wanted to do it in the PC one year. Like, just like, I'm surprised it's taking so long. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but it's happening. Hopefully they pull together a good roster. There's been rumors of, the Iconics are back now from TNA. So between NXT, Raw, SmackDown, you got a tremendous roster. You really do. And then if you want to borrow from TNA, you got that option. CMLL now. So come on.
Yeah, no, let's get some other talent on that show and pad out that card a little bit. We'll see if they go with the 5 matches or they pad it out a little bit within a match or two. We'll see. And that NXT card, it looks like what is it, Obafemi taking on what is it, the Japanese guy? What's his name? The guy who was I saw in that Yoshino, is that his name? I have that right?
The Josh Briggs is tagging.
I was gonna say the tag team partner. What's his name? The Haas guy.
The guy is not going to beat Obafemi.
The guy's not going to be Obafemi, but it should be a nice Haas fight. It should be a nice big mean scary guy match. So hopefully they'll just kind of wail on each other, and that should be fun.
I would say that people come and go, but I feel like they haven't really done a great job at building someone that could legitimately beat Obafemi. I don't think there's anybody up in that roster yet that could play. Oh yeah, they could beat.
That's like the clear front one. I mean, the only guy I would say eventually, if they decided to pull the trigger and fully push him, would be Javon Evans, just because he's over. But they would have to really push him, and get some big wins under his belt. You know what I mean? I think he'd be like the one next guy that might be. But even then, he might be like a year away from taking that spot. I don't know.
Or maybe if they want him to stick it, if they choose to let him hang around and not put it on the main roster, maybe like Ricky Sames, but I don't know.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. Yeah, Obafemi seems pretty, solidified as that champion right now. Much to Richie's chagrin after drafting him on his fantasy league, of course. He's a pick on. Oopsies. No, he's just going to hang around and be champion for the foreseeable future.
Whatever. Until they sign something, maybe tell you. Again.
But we'll get a tag team match, Fatal Influence taking on Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe teaming up. So the former Mariah May. I know she wrestled at like a house show, right? Like an NXT house show recently. But as far as like kind of hitting like sort of an NXT, kind of a takeover situation. So big. Of course, they had to give her a match opposite All In, obviously, right? They were going to put her in a showcase match, of course, because they'd be kind of silly not to. And then you got so far announced Sol Ruka and Izzy Dame for the Women's North American Championship. So, and I'd imagine again they'll announce, a tag team title match, I'm sure, or something else. It's maybe 2 other matches. So we'll see what happens there. But JPO, any thoughts on this NXT card so far, or anything else they could add to it and whatnot, JPO?
No, it's the last slot of the night. It's service, Richie.
Okay, that's all good. Richie, any thoughts on the card so far for Great American Bash?
No, I'm just kidding. Looks decent. Hopefully the main event. I don't want to be disrespectful to to
Yoshiki Inamura. Sorry, I didn't know
Yoshiki Inamura. He's actually good. He is a decent wrestler.
No, he's good. Again, that should be a fun, like meaty Haas fight. You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to it as a match. Like it should be fun.
I think they picked him up from Noah. I think I'm pretty sure, and
he is. He is.
And he kind of caught on with Josh Briggs, and there was a thing where I was like, hey, Josh Briggs sort of had a match with Trick for TNA, and he's like, oh, you should go after the main one, and then there's a small storyline there. It should be a good match. Wouldn't shock me if Jordan Grace beat Jason James. I don't think. Is that on? No. I mean,
that's on the Evolution pay-per-view.
That's on the Evolution show. I'm just gonna. I'll tie it.
I know. Yeah. They'll be in the ring on the NXT show and then have the singles match on Evolution.
Yeah. But it wouldn't shock me in general if maybe if I think Blake Monroe would get pinned here, but it wouldn't shock me if that also leads to Jordan Grace pinning.
No, I could see Jordan Grace becoming the new champion
because
they need it.
I just see JC Jane being that transitional champion. I just think they were like, hey, I think they were just like, we want Stephanie on the main roster. Here we got JC Jane's doing some good work. Okay.
And I think a bigger feud and a bigger program would be then to have Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe getting to a pretty quick feud for the title. You know what I mean? Given the bigger star power, you know what I'm saying? Pivot to that. Yeah. And that's a bigger match down the line for sure.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think the actual, that should be good. Sol Ruker
And then they'll do that match, Richie, opposite All Out, whenever that is in Toronto, and then they'll run their show in Toronto, like at a building right next door, and do that match as the main event. Randomly, we just happened to book a venue in Toronto down the road, and we're going to give us some theater, and Blake Monroe will be in the main event for the women's title. I would not be surprised if the pettiness continued there. Because did you say they're doing like a random show at the ECW arena, like
apparently they gave up on that, but they were going to because
they were going to,
because AEW had I think soon or just that they had a residency at the ECW arena, or they had like a 7 week. They've been doing these residencies where they think they got like 7 weeks back on the Dynamite Collision. And so someone went, that's a good idea, and was going to book NXT there. I'm like, dude, just why be so obvious? Anyway.
Come on. Try not to make it that obvious. But yeah, so you guys got any other notes or things you want to talk about WWE before we pivot to AEW? JPO, you got anything WWE related you want to throw out there? Yeah, what you got?
Just a couple of quick things. LFG is still going. I kind of thought maybe it was going to end, Undertaker won the season, but they're kind of keeping it going like just a weekly series. I thought it was fun to note that Mickie James is, I guess, busy, and Michelle McCool is now the fourth judge on that. So, because, you got legends like Booker T, but we're the Undertaker, and Michelle McCool. Totally worth of being in that league. So
she replaced her halfway through the first season. So I don't.
Did she?
Yeah, she did. It was like they tried to make it into a whole story thing. It's like, well, we didn't, and then it was like, well, Undertaker's like, I don't know. I didn't know that. I didn't make that decision. I don't know she's coming in. Yeah. So I don't know what happened.
That still sucks. She has no right leading class. Back out, Jim Ross sounds like he will be at the All In. Maybe calling a couple matches. So we'll be seeing Jim Ross back on TV. Glad he's doing good. And speaking of just people doing good, this is kind of a TNA/WWE one. Shout out to Jeff Hardy, approaching about 3 years sober. So good for him.
Yeah, good for him. I have a potential movie rumor, JPO, that sounds interesting. As we know, Roman Reigns has been cast as Akuma in the Street Fighter movie, so he's going to be in there. There is a strong rumor going around from several sources that the casting of Guile could go to a one Cody Rhodes.
Really?
This cast is wacky.
This cast is very wacky because they also just cast, I believe, David Dastmalchian as M. Bison.
As in Bison. Yes. That's a great casting, though.
Because some people were kind of like baffled by it, but I go, did Raul Julia, was he like some badass? We casted Gomez Adams, but he was great, like as Ed Bison, because he's more of like a character than like a fighter guy. You know what I mean? Like he has the fight scene at the end, but he's more just like this over the top, dictator character. So I think David Dastmalchian will actually be sneaky good for that. I think he'd do it. Yeah. 50 Cent is Balrog. It's
Andrew Schultz.
Yeah, the cast is like all over the place for this movie, but we could see more than one wrestler. Like Cody Rhodes is being circled for potential Guile casting. So it's not confirmed. It's just kind of a heavy rumor at this point that he's been in talks for it. So it could happen. So I don't know. Like it could be interesting. We'll see. I know you do see Cody, by the way, briefly in that new Naked Gun trailer as like a
at the bar or whatever.
Yeah, at the bar when he gets his head slammed on the table.
Actually,
if you go back and watch the trailer, there's a part where Liam Neeson like slams the bartender's head against the table and he comes up with like wacky eyes and eyebrows, like it's a very like spoof movie thing. That's Cody in the trailer. He's wearing a wig, so it's hard to tell, but it's Cody. So he's in there. So he will probably be in whatever this nightclub scene or this bar scene. It's probably a scene where he goes to get information from a guy at the nightclub or whatever. And he's the bartender, so something like that. It'll probably just be the one and done sort of thing. But he's there. If you see the trailer, you can briefly see him. So we'll
I'm
see.
looking forward to
That
that movie
movie,
more than I thought I would.
yeah, that movie's only a month away. So yeah, we'll have to see. I think
That
it's gonna be
trailer
interesting.
got me. It's quite funny.
Yeah, I hope they're saving some of the better jokes from the movie as well. So we'll see. But yeah, that was just a quick. I know JP is always interested in wrestlers and movie news, so that could be a potential thing.
I kind of like both those things a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit. You cast a wrestler in a movie, JP is probably going to watch it, no matter what it is.
Yeah. No, I look very much forward to. No, I mean, I look forward to Naked Gun with or without Cody. Don't forget we got MJF and what is it?
Happy
Becky
Gilmore,
about to be in Happy Gilmore. That's only a few weeks away now. Yeah.
It's dropping pretty soon. So yeah, we'll have to see how much of a party.
And Roman Reigns is going to be in that new Amazon movie with Pete Davidson and Eddie Murphy coming out in August.
Nice. There you go.
Pick up. Yeah.
So
John Cena's new flick just dropped yesterday.
It's actually
fun.
It's actually fun. I like the movie.
That's the Idris Elba movie.
Sure.
Is that what it is? The Idris Elba joint? Okay.
Yeah. I've been watching a lot of them just doing press. They're fun together.
Okay.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Jack,
I will say Jack Quaid's not in it as much as you would think. That's not.
I would almost say I'd even call it a cameo. To be honest, yeah.
But he's having a busy year though. He's been in 3 movies so far, he's been quite the busy. I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up in something else that he already filmed later in the year. So, good for Jack Quaid. He's having a good year.
I've got 2 things.
Yeah, I was gonna say, drop whatever you got before, and then we'll pivot to kind of like AEW all-in kind of storyline stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
Apparently WWE has signed or about to sign Octagon Jr., which is kind of cool. So he's going to be finishing up there. He's a really talented dude. He's been great. Obviously, you saw him on the Triple A show, and he's also worked in TNA for a bit. Apparently, though, the Triple A or might own the trademark, so he might not be. He might come in as something else. I'm not sure, but looks like he's coming in. As expected, also, so Private Party and Danhausen's contract coming up, and WWE are very interested in both. Be interesting to see Danhausen and WWE. I don't know how that would. I'm curious to see if that would actually work out. I know I reckon he would catch on. It's just a matter of I think Danhausen's making. There's a lot of side stuff that Danhausen makes money on, which I don't know if he'd be allowed to.
Hey JPO, if I was interested in seeing Danhausen live, where would I do that? Just curious.
Oh man, if you were anywhere near Fort Myers, Florida, on August the 8th, you can catch him live. Who knows? Maybe now it's one of your last opportunities. Who knows? Very nice, very evil. Yeah.
So that's very convenient. That sounds like a lot of fun. You should go to that if you're near the Fort Pierce area. Yeah.
I just don't know the pros cons.
See what I did there? Tying it into a nice, easy, cheap plug, as Philly would say.
Cheap plug, baby.
Yeah.
10-year anniversary. One of only 2 or 3 Florida companies that can say that. So hell yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure the pros and cons for Danhausen there, but I would like to see him there. I think he'd do well because he's one of the great, he's one of the great characters in wrestling at the moment, and he catches on very well. But and I can't believe that AEW doesn't have anything for him. That's for bad things. Speaking and Private Party, I don't know. I think they bottled it with them. They won the tag titles in a cool moment, lost tag titles, pretty much getting squashed, and then nothing. So
I do think WWE could use some fresh tag teams at this point because especially on Raw, they're a little the tag team division is pretty cold. I know the SmackDown tag division is all right. It's just the reactions can be hit or miss from the crowd. I mean, they still have a fairly strong division, but Raw could definitely use a shot in the arm of something.
Yeah,
they need some things.
I think SmackDown has almost a dozen teams. They just need to actually push them. Give them stories, put them on PLEs. It's not lack of talent for damn sure.
Also, they don't need to all be feuding with every. They seem to all be feuding with everybody. All the tag teams are feuding with everybody else. You know what I mean? You can have separate feuds within the tag.
Lock down this team feuding with this team. This team feuding with this team. Yeah, that's okay.
So I see Private Party going to going to WWE, and I just think it's a major fumble for the AEW. Who, I think, like, I don't know what. Yeah, like you had a cool moment with these guys, and you kind of squashed it.
Hell, at this point, they're not doing anything with them. Maybe try to get the Guns also, man. Colton and Austin Gunn in like NXT, like that could work also. Like not do anything with them.
The Ass Boys.
I watched a bit of because they put it online. I think it's from a few months ago. I watched it like a Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling Battle Royal, and from the Scott Demores promotion, and Billy Gunn's in that. Billy Gunn and Rhino are in that. So that's fine. He's still getting around. Plenty of freak.
For sure.
That was pretty. There is rumors of Britt Baker wanting to leave too, but I've heard like that there's.
Yeah, but that's I looked into it. It's very unsubstantiated.
That's why I didn't want that. That's why I was like, I wasn't at.
There'll be one article saying she wants out, another article saying it's overblown.
I think it's literally the fact that she's a full-time dentist, so she sometimes is on TV and sometimes not. She runs a dental practice still, like legitimately, in wherever it is, Alabama or whatever it is. So yeah, I mean, she's busy.
Yeah,
it's fine. They'll use her occasionally. It's fine.
There's a joke there. I'll make it up. That's why I didn't lead off with it, because I think that was
it's unsubstantiated, just whatever.
The more trusted sites was saying there was nothing much to it, so I was like, I'm going to go with it.
Yeah. But yeah, let's pivot a little bit with the Britt Baker thing. Let's pivot to AEW and catch up on a little bit of some of their stuff. We have 7 matches as of right now announced officially for All In. Again, I'm sure we'll get 1 or 2 more to fill out the card probably over the next week or so, with the final Dynamites and whatnot. But yeah, as of right now, your card is as follows. And again, we'll do a full-on prediction show next week, once it gets kind of filled out a little bit more. But as of right now, Adam Cole and Kyle Fletcher for the TNT title, taking there. We have the 2 Casino Gauntlet matches for a future AEW title shot. We have a few participants announced here and there. We'll talk about it for that. MJF, Mark Briscoe being your 1s and 2s there officially after this Dynamite. We have, of course, Okada and Kenny Omega for the new unified title, which I know we all love the name of that. But at least they're kind of, at least getting rid of one of those belts, so I'm fine with that. We, of course, have a Swerve, Strickland, and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks, and we had some developments in that we'll talk about as far as the stipulations and where that storyline could be going. John Moxley and Adam Page, which also had a development and a stipulation added, we'll talk about. And Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné for the AEW Women's World Championship. But yeah, as far as some of the stipulations that got added as of this past Dynamite. So the tag match, it was already going to be, they were trying to get the Bucks to put up their EVP status, on the line. But in exchange, Will Ospreay, I should say without Swerve's permission, or much to the bewilderment of Swerve Strickland, said that also added a stipulation to goat them into it that if they lose that match, then Swerve and Will Ospreay will not be able to challenge for the world title for an entire year. And Swerve was very much not really into that at first, but kind of got goaded into it.
Swerve should have grabbed the mic and been like, he does not speak for the both of us.
Yes. The words of Will Ospreay do not reflect the words of the party of
Swerve Incorporated.
Sure, yeah. And Prince Nana.
I just words myself.
But it's an interesting development that I think adds a deeper layer of storyline potential than you might think just on the surface, because if you potentially roll with this thing and Swerve and Will Ospreay lose, I think that could potentially kick off a Swerve heel turn, which I think is kind of inevitable at this point that he's kind of teased. I think Swerve, always kind of saying he's the most dangerous man in AEW, works a little bit better if he's a heel. But you could kick off, a feud between him and Will Ospreay, some frustration there, not being able to challenge for the world title. I don't think it's necessarily a detriment to those guys. I think they learned at least a little bit from the Cody Rhodes situation where with the Cody, remember they said it was like you can't challenge forever, and that was like, oops, we kind of booked ourselves in the corner with that. At least this would just be a year, which is really not that bad. I mean, we've had people like MJF who hasn't challenged in a long time, and they could get back into it. It's not to say those guys couldn't still feud for like a unified title, something like that, one of the undercard titles, and still be prominent. But I think there's a potential there where it's a little unpredictable. You could also work the Bucks angle with them losing the status, but then still being, having something under contract where there's still like a commissioner or something, something goofy, where they weasel their way out of it or something. There's something there. But JPO, any thoughts on this development? I think it adds a little layer to this that is kind of interesting, as far as the development with Will kind of pushing this on Swerve, and maybe it frustrates him a little bit, especially if they lose here. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, and it's a good match on paper too. It's an all-in worthy match, I think. It's obviously the first time ever because Swerve and Ospreay aren't necessarily normal tag teams here, so I'm excited for the match. There's little stakes on it. Makes you wonder too, like let's say maybe if Tony Khan has this next year planned out and he goes, okay, maybe Ospreay. That's how Ospreay isn't champ until All In next year. Like I can see them losing. You know what I mean? I can see a world
until All In next year where they go back to London, which is pretty much the strong rumor that they're going to go back to London next year.
That's what I'm saying. Save that. Yeah. Save it where that's Will's first shot at the title. You know what I mean? Because he's been blocked this entire time. So I see that being possible. But at the very least, no, I like the match and I'm cool with the step.
Yeah, Richie.
Or you do a storyline where you give the title shot to Mark Davis and you go all in Brisbane. I'm just kidding. That's for a Brisbane guy randomly. But he always gets hurt, so I don't know. I think this adds a layer of intrigue. I do like the stipulation here. Because either way, you could either do the build. I almost, they're so intriguing. I almost want to lose, but then you could do maybe do the EPP thing. Maybe it's run its course. Maybe they've recognized that. Okay, maybe we'll pivot and go into another big storyline or something else. I don't know. It definitely builds intrigue. I'm excited for the match. I think it is definitely more interesting now. Even though it was quite interesting before. Another layer of history.
Well, I think, and even if those two guys particularly, they lose the thing and they're not involved in the title picture, it's not like they don't have enough people that are always kind of circling the title picture anyways, because you have obviously Moxley the champ, you have Hangman, you have a potential Darby Allin coming out of here. You got guys like Jay White who could always come back into it. MJF could come back into it at any time. Samoa Joe. But you have enough of these people that could still circle that world title picture, enough people you could have feuds without those two guys particularly being there. But again, being involved in other feuds or with each other or whatever. So, I mean, it's not like they couldn't do other things.
You've also got people who kind of, I think maybe are looking to get into that next level, like your Carl Fletcher, your, I don't know, even
you could throw Takeshita in there. Like Takeshita could always step up for the world title picture. He's got potential.
Even like, I'm not advocating for him to win, but I wouldn't mind seeing like Brody King in there. I don't know.
I would hope Brody King would eventually get a shot at like that unified title or something like that, like a little more prestigious title. Like, cause I like that dude a lot. I hope at some point.
Like just there's just people who are definitely on the cusp of something. Real Ricochet. I don't know. There's someone like someone like like that. Or even like a.
Well, you could still have Kenny Omega could drop that title and still go for a world title later. You know what I mean? It's not like he couldn't. You know what I'm saying? Or Okada, those guys. You know what I mean? Like those are all those guys that are still those top level talents that could drop a title, but then a few months later go for a different title. Like there's plenty of people.
Yeah.
So, as far as, but speaking of the world title, we did have the official stipulation that it will be a Texas death match, Hangman's Wheelhouse, of course, which, of course, allows for the blood. Moxie's going to bleed in this damn thing. He's going to bleed all over Texas. But also, I think it sets up JPO, a replay. I think I have a sneaky suspicion AEW is going to pull a WrestleMania 40 here, a Bloodline Rules match, and have a lot of shenanigans and run-ins and, people making returns and people helping Paige, people helping Mox. Maybe something involving the Casino Gauntlet. If Darby wins that, I don't know. I foresee a lot of overbooked shenanigans in the future. JPO, what do you think? But at least it's official with the Texas Death Match. We don't have to do like referee gets bumped 8,000 times.
Yeah.
Another referee comes out. Whatever. It's just we just throw all that out. And just leave it at them. Yeah.
I kind of want to give AEW some credit and hope that they don't do that. You know what I mean? That's one of the things I liked about AEW originally. They didn't do a lot of DQ finishes, and they were kind of like Ring of Honor almost, where like you had nice like confirmed finishes, and that has been strayed from over time. So yeah, no, we'll see. Like you said, it's a perfect step for anyone and everyone. You still got several Death Riders. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, Brian Danielson
all the ops are going to be involved. The ops are involved with a few. So Samoa Joe,
ops who have no matches so far, I think. So yeah,
right. Yeah, like I said, the Casino Gauntlet winner could get involved if that's how you work Darby into it. If you still want to do that, there's a potential there. I mean, there's at least it opens it up to they don't have to do cheap DQs or whatever, things like that. So we'll get at least a winner. But yeah, I just foresee that. But you can still have very clean finishes. I think it's stuff like Omega and Okada. Like I think it will be a very straightforward match. I don't see a lot of shenanigans there. Tony and Mercedes, I see being a pretty straightforward match there. With not too much involvement. I still see other matches on the card that I think could be pretty straightforward. With not too many things. The only other one I see maybe some people getting involved, especially that Young Bucks match, returning Jack Perry. I could see getting involved in that one, a little bit. We'll talk about all this more in depth next week when JPO brings the graphics and we do the official predictions and actually talk about the match. And
we're getting there. I know.
Yeah, we're getting there, but next week we'll be there. So, we'll see what they add here. If they add, it looks like they're going to add a tag title match, Hurt Business and Jet Speed, right? It's looking like.
Jet Speed are the biggest dorks. I mean,
pull the Brian Alvarez Geek of the Week for this fucking week for Jet Speed. Yeah, because they come out when all four members of the First Syndicate are at full strength, just standing in the ring. They come out to fight. They don't bring weapons. They don't come in from the crowd behind them. They just come straight in, get their asses kicked, stand back up, challenge them again to get their asses kicked. Just repeatedly get their
another one where
what a bunch of
I thought it would have been great if if the other guy grabbed the mic, come back. No, we're good. We're good.
No, I'm fine. No, just kidding.
The one guy like slammed someone's mother. And I was like, I think your mother's a great lady. I don't condone the slander. That is his fault and his problem alone.
Clearly Kevin Knight kind of being the more hubris one. You get the more hubris going, yeah. And Mike Bailey's like, no, because I feel like it's taken away Mike Bailey's kind of specialness. They're so like it's going to hurt business if they lose to them. They're so geeky.
Just like if you wanted to, like it's fine if they wanted to get a receipt, right? That's totally. There's such an easy way you could have done this. Have the Hurt visit or Syndicate, President, whatever, doing some backstage, maybe they're doing an interview or whatever, and they come in with chairs and hit him in the back and jump him in the back, get a couple of shots in, maybe not too many, maybe Hurt shakes it off a little bit, and they run, but at least get a shot in, F you, that's a receive, whatever, and run away. That's fine. That happens all the time. That'd be an easy way for them to get, or at least come in through the crowd and jump from behind, at least. But you play your music, you come out when they're just at 100%. And you just get your asses kicked. What a bunch of dorks.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like they need to build up more like credible people because they did this to like people like I feel like they did like that's it's cool to have Hurt Business obviously look look dominant, that's why they're popular. But then like I think they've actually Hurt tag teams were doing that. Like I think the Outrunners have been the same. Just because they just did it's cool that they're kind of, they're all over, but, also just looking like dorks. It doesn't help, I don't know. Just like,
Well, and I feel like we're gonna get an FTR Outrunners match, but I'm definitely afraid it's just gonna be on the pre-show. I think it's gonna be. I have a sneaky suspicion, JV. I'm sorry. I think that match is gonna be on the pre-show if they book it. I don't know.
They usually don't do pre-shows, so I don't know. I'm sorry. I think they're WWE stupid me. Yeah, no, it might be.
They did a pre-show for All In last year. Remember? Didn't they have? Wasn't it Paul White and like some of that shit? Like what was it?
No, I was thinking WWE for some reason. I was like, oh yeah, AEW always does one. They flip flop on how many matches they have. Is all they flip flop on. Yeah.
Right.
And if this was like,
I would say,
yeah,
big TNA news. Cedric Alexander, speaking of her business, popping up on TNA.
No, yeah, doing
he's got a match with Ali, right, on the Slammiversary.
Yeah. Now, I was just like, if this was like 6 months ago, and it was like FTR versus like Outrunners 1, I think it'd be on the main show. But 2, I'd be more umming and ahhing about who might win. But I mean, still probably FTR, but I'd be more umming and ahhing. Now I'm just like, obviously FTR are winning, because I don't know. I just feel like that they're not like you had something with the Outriders that they're over, and you
squandered it. It's gone. Yeah, it's dead.
Yeah.
No, and the reason I say I think if they do add it, it's going to be on the pre-show is because you already have the Ospreay, Swerve Young Bucks is like your prestige tag team match. You already have one, and if they add Hurt Business and Jet Speed, which they probably will this week, that'll be your other one for the main card. And then if you add another one, it's going to be on the pre-show, bro. Like I'm sorry to say, FTR and Outrunners will be on the pre-show. It just is.
I did hear a rumor too, which would be random because they're not really haven't been fixed into it. But I heard a rumor that Christian and Nick Wayne might be added to that tag match.
Really? Just out of nowhere?
Yeah. I don't know if it's like to maybe build up they're just a way to build up their dissension, because I think obviously I think Nick Wayne's going back soon.
But man, to me, like freaking Buddy can't come back fast enough and reform that damn tag team with Brody, dude. We need that badly against the Hurt Business. We need that badly, dude. The freaking Hounds of Elegance thing. That's about the only credible team I can think of is when he comes back. Hopefully. Yeah, at least it's some competition. Yeah, but I don't know what's going on. But how serious was that damn ankle injury, dude? Oh my God,
he doesn't. It's not healing the way he wants it to. Like, yeah.
Huh. I guess it was worse than what I initially thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even like if like say because obviously they're popular anyway. Turn her business baby faces, and then but again you got to wait for an injury. Like how close is like Brian Cage to coming back? Like get him and Archer. At least that would be like a hoss. At least that would be like, oh cool, like a kind of competitive kind of hoss fight kind of. It's cool seeing her as kick-ass, but it's like I'm over the sort of like with the kind of the result is very I don't know, making the other team look like geeks for and actually hurting them in the long run.
Yeah. Well, they already squandered the potential like Big Bill, like Brian Keith thing, which I thought could have been something as well, but they kind of just rushed that and then squandered it, just as quickly. I mean, they're running out of like potential teams. I mean, if they weren't a trios team, I would say like I would like to see like a Samoa Joe and Hook against them. I think it work as like a tag team, but they're already the trios thing, so that's not really.
A Paragon's the same way, I guess. They're a trios team.
They're a trios team, but you could do Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, but how into the crowd is that? I don't know. There's potential there, but they got to spice that up a little bit with something. We'll see what happens. I imagine that match probably gets added officially next week, and then we'll see if they add anything else. I mean, that would be 8 at that point with some pretty lengthy matches. I mean, that would be enough for sure. I wonder if there will be anything last minute, or if it is, it'll probably just be on the pre-show, like I said. So we'll see how the card kind of pans out after Dynamite next week. I imagine it'll be pretty finalized after Dynamite. We'll see what happens there. But I mean, the card again in ring looks to be fairly strong for the show. So overall, we'll see what happens there. But anything else for AEW you guys want to yap about? Those are kind of the biggest developments, over the last 2 weeks or so. But
no, any thing not in terms of the show. I did read today that they're quite interested in me bringing Isla Dawn in. She's been backstage a few times, the former tag team champion. I'm not sure. Yeah, like I'm skeptical when it comes to the women that aren't like the big sort of 4 or 5, because they bring them in and they do something cool for about a month or 2 and then they're on Ring of Honor.
Yeah, they get lost in the shuffle. Yeah.
But speaking of Ring of Honor, another thing lost in the shuffle is there's a Ring of Honor pay-per-view coming up, and there's actually
right. Has anybody been talking about that?
Back to back. It's Friday and Saturday with the All In. Yeah, Friday Ring of Honor, Saturday All In. They mentioned it briefly during Bandito's entrance, so there's little inklings of it.
Yeah.
But that's about it. That and then the ROH show, which just advertises itself.
So as of right now, you've got Dusty Rhodes and Sammy Guevara taking on the Infantry of Sean Dean and Charlie Bravo for the tag titles. Bandito taking on Takeshita, which should actually be a really good match for the ROH World title. So that should be pretty good. So Takeshita, not on All In, but on the Supercard of Honor. A little odd, but okay. But at least he's getting what could be the main event there. So that's interesting. Athena and Thunder Rosa, which I thought Athena, they were building maybe her being on All In Texas, but I guess not. So she's going to be in Texas, but not at All In.
And she is Texan, which is you think she is from Texas. She's from Houston.
Yeah, and then the pure title, Lee Moriarty versus Blue Panther. People, so
and she could be pretty good.
Well, I mean, Blue Panther had that good match against Bryan Danielson, so he's still capable of having like good matches. You know what I mean? It's not like he's an older gentleman, but knows how to work. So, and I imagine they'll add I'm sure 1 or 2 other matches. So, that's happening the night before. So there you go. Leading up to there, but that's happening as much as it doesn't get talked about really on television. It's going to happen.
I think that's sad, man. I'm like, why? Promote
the thing, right? Yeah, it's almost like it's just it's too much to juggle for Tony Khan. He's trying to juggle all this stuff, and Ring of Honor being its own separate thing kind of should be. I don't know. It's a little too much.
It's tough. Like I think I'm gonna go because it's only $10. If you are intrigued, again, it's on Watch ROH. It's not a big pay-per-view. So I'll probably watch the last couple of TVs and I'll watch it for the heck of it. But yeah.
A lot of the show, a lot of their weekly shows have been on YouTube. Speaking of, I think a lot of the impacts. A lot of their impacts have been on YouTube. I think all of summer they're doing a whole thing of that's free on YouTube. Their impacts. I think they're doing a deal that's all of summer's going to be on YouTube. I've announced that. So but it's it is what it is. But I don't know. I think that just seems that it's its own TV thing, and maybe
Well, we forgot to mention that JC Jane Jordan Grace match does have a stipulation where I believe the winner of that goes to that TNA Slammiversary pay-per-view to do a winner take all match against Masha Slamovich. That's the one that also has some implications there. I say it could be interesting having Jordan Grace potentially return to TNA as the NXT champion. Could be an interesting twist to that, right? So having this kind of former TNA champion just coming back holding a different belt, so that could be very interesting.
That could be interesting.
Or if you have JC Jane somehow take out Jordan Grace, then go there and then have Masha Slamovich, a TNA talent take the NXT title, sort of like Trick Williams taking the TNA title, having like a back and forth thing with that, and having Masha Slamovich then show up on NXT could also be interesting, just potentially.
I think something like that will happen at some point. I was surprised that a few months ago that the Rascals didn't take the tag titles. I thought that was going to happen. But I could.
Well, that could still happen because they're in a ladder match on that show in the 4-way ladder match for the TNA title. So that could potentially happen. You could have the Rascals taking that.
Yeah, it could.
Don't worry, I'm sure JPO will run that card down when the time is right. Or, the week before that show, which is on July 20th, so not that far away, just a couple weeks out. But they've already got a pretty full card. They already got 7 matches announced for that, so they definitely already got announced and they're building to it. So that's at least cool. But yeah, that NXT show has direct notification on Slammiversary, so at least that's a bit of a tie-in there. So again, I like when they tie that in a little bit. It's fun booking, back and forth, having the little crossover stuff. So I like it.
Yeah. Did you see also? I think it was a couple weeks ago. I think it was just it might have been in front of the crowd. I'm not sure. So no, honestly, I haven't been watching week to week AEW, but I've been trying to. But I think Bryan Danielson actually answered Max Caster's challenge. I think maybe for the crowd at one point. I think what was it? I think it was a couple weeks ago. Yeah, he just showed up, hit the Psycho knee, pinned him and left. So he's still doing stuff, and he appeared for the crowd after the Mexico show. No, it came off the air. So still
it was like a dark match thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, it's still I think he's at the moment he's undecided as to whether he wants to come back and do an actual storyline thing, but or if he can. But,
I think he said, in the past, he's not fully retired. He's just not going to be a full-time competitor, but it doesn't mean he can't show up occasionally for a match, here and there, if the circumstances are correct. You could see him showing up again if they do, what is it, the Wrestle Dream thing in Washington again. I could see him then showing up again for that and having a match, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So.
Yeah.
But that's really all I got. Kind of catching up on the news. I didn't really have much else, so we can keep it there if you guys want to. Yeah, just kind of catching up on current events and whatnot. So I'm sorry I don't have a fantasy thing. Hopefully Jacob will get us mega caught up, going into SummerSlam here, because there's a lot of developments. I was gonna say, it's coming up real soon. We've only got about a month left for this fantasy competition. I think JPO is still in the lead with a healthy lead, at least by 100 or 200 points with your roster. But again, anything could happen going into SummerSlam, because again, that'll be a 2-night big show as well. There could be some big pushes. But just for anybody who doesn't know, after SummerSlam will be our last show of our WWE fantasy fantasy rosters, and then we will pivot to AEW for the rest of the year. So we'll be having to do a whole new draft of roster cards, and I think because of AEW's weird way they may have people on TV from week to week or not, we're gonna do we're gonna add the stipulations to our predictions for the AEW pay-per-views, that if you win the predictions, that gives you an extra substitution, if that makes sense. So an extra slot to potentially substitute somebody if you'd like to do that. So, seems like a good prize going forward for AEW. That could be a fun, way to spice that up to get those predictions correct. So, I like that, adding that, because we might need that more for AEW than WWE, because at least in WWE, most of our people are pretty predictable who's going to be on TV from week to week, who's going to pretty consistent. AEW. I mean, all of a sudden, AR Fox is on every other show when he was gone for 2 years, and now he is. You know what I mean? Shit like that. I just he's back on television week to week. All right, Beast Mortos can be off TV, and then he's in 3 main events in a row. Okay.
We'll be on TV for over a year, but then I'll be like, oh, I'm not gonna draft him, and then watch him show up all the time. Watch him go and get a storyline. Okay.
Yeah, Wardlow comes back and wins the TNT title immediately or something. You know what I mean? Shit like that. You just never know. Yeah, with AEW. So we'll add that to our predictions for the back half of the year, for the winners getting an extra kind of substitution slot, if you like, an extra in and out there. So, but it should be interesting. We'll have to be very strategic with our draft picks. Maybe not so much picking, those big match people, just thinking about those cards and who just fucking shows up on TV week to week consistently. You know what I mean? Who's on TV all the time? Even if it's just once a week on Collision. Who's on TV consistently? Just think about that. But it should make for an interesting draft, so I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, we'll wrap it up there probably for tonight. So getting caught up on things. So thank you guys for joining me again. Hopefully Jacob says he should be back next week for our all-in predictions. And yeah, we'll JPL will bring the predictions. I'm sure we'll bring graphics for the other cards as well, because we got a lot of cards to preview officially. We'll run down the entire weekend. It's a wrestling extravaganza next weekend. Four shows for the whole weekend. Oh boy. And yeah, so strategize. You're watching, if you will. I know we'll be watching All In live for sure. And then obviously if you want to at that point watch Saturday Night's Main Event live, or if you want to or if you want to catch NXT right after that on the replay. I try to watch Saturday Night's Main Event on the replay. I just can't do the commercials. I just can't. So I might have to I might pivot and watch the NXT replay and then watch Saturday Night's Main Event the next day and then watch Evolution live, something like that. That might be kind of how it has to go down. We'll see. But yeah, now Richie might not be able to join us live because that's going to be very, very early for him, starting at 3 p.m. Eastern here in the United States. So I like it because I won't be up till midnight watching AEW. So I'm excited about that. I could pick up pizza on the way home from work that day and just come right in and start watching the show. It's gonna be great because I get off at 2 p.m. that day, so that'll be good. But yeah, let's wrap it up there. Get our plugs and we'll get out of here. Richie, anything you want to throw out there? What you got?
I've got a Why We Love Horror match coming up soon. I'm going to be recording here just a couple of days, and that should be fun. I'll be joining you guys on the JPS countdown of the top.
I was gonna say, if JPS seems like he's okay, laptop issues aside, if we're doing a countdown tomorrow night, hopefully at 8 p.m. I believe is the plan still on, pending any computer issues.
No, I mean, and as far as the computer issues, it's more of mine. I've had a rough couple of days. I've been dead tonight. That's what you get when you fall asleep till 6 a.m. the night before. Computer's been fine. This is the old laptop, but it's holding up so far. So, knock on wood, I've done 3 things tonight alone. 4 maybe even technically, because I did a bonus test one. So yeah, should be okay.
All right, well, potentially countdown for that. Just gotta
best of the year, top 10 best of the year so far, right? So
our favorite flick so far, January through June. So no heads of state. That's July.
Yeah, July. Yes, I know. Watching Jurassic World Rebirth tomorrow. I don't know if that will get there, but we'll see.
I did see I saw F1 today, and then I'm seeing Jurassic World tomorrow. So that'll be my last minute thing. You'll see if they land.
Those could crash the list.
For F1 has potential strong. I really, really liked it, so that could end up on the list. Yeah, for sure. The Jurassic World, I'm not so skeptical about, but we'll see based on the reviews. We'll see. And neither Megan 2.0 because I'm seeing that as well. We'll see about that also.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, are you seeing that?
Yeah, I'm seeing that. I don't have high hopes that'll make my best of the year. So we'll see.
Great.
I think I'm safe in that.
But and other than that, I pop up here and there. I call in a long time first time when I can. I noticed that you did, Pez, before we got up.
I was very brief. It was like I had like a 10-minute window, so like I'll pop in and talk about 10 things I hate about you for a second. Sure, that I finally got to.
Yeah. So
and I happened to pop in when JPO was talking about last stop in Yuma County, which was like in my top 12 of last year, and I was like, "Hey, people."
That was really funny, because I thought of you when I watched it, and then as I was reviewing it, I heard I was in the middle of talking, so I didn't really even see that it was you until I was done, and I went, "All right, it's you."
Hey, last stop in Yuma County. That's a great movie. Awesome. Hell
yeah. Confused. There's also a similar title maybe called like Breaking News in Yuba County or something. That's not neither famous. It's just not as good.
Great cast. Not half as good as this one. Like you would think the opposite on paper.
Yeah.
But Pez, if you ever want to see Aquafina get murdered, go watch the Yuba one. So There's some bright spots.
Well, that is my new criteria now. As JPO knows
Spoilers.
that if there's a new Aquafina movie, I'll watch it if she
Yeah.
dies, but if she doesn't, I'll skip it.
Yeah.
So that's my new criteria.
She's in-
So if you
she's
give me
in-
a spoiler,
I think she lives, but she gets caught in Poker Face this season. So we want to see her go to jail. Does that get
okay. You know, I don't watch much TV though. I don't really watch TV though, so that's not really. It's not really-
Oh no, wait. Well, spoilers. No, I think she is the victim. Go watch Poker Face. That's right. I'm forgetting the arc actually.
All right, my new TV show.
Spoilers for Aquafina's death catalog.
Yeah, just skip season 2 then. Yeah. I got no other plugs. Just you can find me wherever.
All right, sounds good. JPO, what you got going on around the Pierce Co. and the Real Pro Wrestlings? And
yes, absolutely. Yeah, the Pierce Co. So there's a tag team tournament. It's not partly my fault with the new laptop problems. Before that, it was all scheduling problems. It's been a real bitch, but we're getting there. I actually think we might have just solved the match that I've been trying to plan since day one. Just now, we'll see. But we're getting along in that. Like I said, no rush. We're only in July. As long as they get it done by December, that's how I look at it. And other shenanigans too. Like I said, countdowns. Me and Brendan just talked about our favorite TV shows of the year so far. These for really beautiful faces. We'll talk movies tomorrow night, and then after that we'll set a date for worst movies of the year so far. Not as bad, by the way. I don't egregiously hate my list when we get to it.
I've definitely got some ones I hate, and then a few ones that are like that'll skirt in there. But as usual,
well, the last half of my list is like, I don't hate these.
Well, that's what I mean. Well, when we did that last year, it was the same thing where it was like my top 5 might hang around till the end of the year, but like my other ones are like probably won't because like those 4 out of 10 kind of things they don't hang around till the end of the year. I always see worse stuff than that, by the end of the year. So we'll talk. I mean, we'll make that caveat, but probably my top 5 will still hang around. Yeah, for sure. They'll probably hang around at the end of the year. Yeah. So we'll get there.
Yeah, but I
definitely have a list, and we'll schedule that after the fact for sure. Oh yeah,
but that's always fun to see what people are loving and then what people are hating. I like hearing both.
Well, and I like getting those recommendations because I know JPO, you're the streaming guy, so there might be some good streaming stuff I missed so far this year. That you can fill me in on if there's some of the stuff. Make your list.
I had a couple slightly smaller ones, maybe. Yeah, on both levels, on both ends of the spectrum.
Oh, right, yeah. No, I'm interested in the worst ones too because you watch all the bad streaming stuff as well. Week up. So let me know.
Forget robots. Remember you maybe?
Yeah, robots. You pushing robots? Oh my god,
robots is a good one. Yeah, hey, shout out to Seinfeld. She changed around. She's in the best movie of the year so far. One of the best. So she had a better year this year. She's in Sinners. So I would say she was the robot girl, right? Was that Seinfeld?
No, that was the girl from Divergent. What's her name?
No, it's a Virgin girl. Okay, sorry. I get my white women confused. Never mind. Never mind. But and then also too, as you mentioned, Real Pro Wrestling. Again, hopefully I get my new laptop back so I can just continue editing footage. But still, we're still chugging along until August 8th. We're still advertising our big 10th anniversary event. That's gonna be lots of fun.
With me, Danhausen, putting curses on people. That's right.
We'll be getting a video promo by him in the next couple of weeks. So him hyping it up. So yeah.
Hell yeah. So I know I wish I was still in Florida. If I was in Florida, man, and still living there, I'd make the trek down, man, and come visit you, man. But just it's a little too far now where I live currently. But if I still live in Jacksonville, I would try to do it.
You and Richie, man, come on, guys.
If you happen to have a show in like the first week of November, I can maybe swing by because I'll be in the Orlando area around that time, the year. But we'll see if it goes on.
If your leader didn't deport people that aren't American, then I would probably show up.
But as far as me, not much going on this next week. Other than the countdown with JPO tomorrow night, we'll be doing that, and we're doing that because there's no tournament fights tomorrow night. We're taking off Movie Hero for the evening. That's fine because I don't have to be out till midnight tomorrow night, so I'm looking forward to that. But we'll be getting back into it next week with the 1993 ladder series. But it's always fun doing those ladder series. We'll talk about 1993, going the way back machine for next week with our 3-parter there. And then we'll just be right back here for Lonely Marks Wheel of Movies. We just did an episode, me and Richie, on The Jerk with Steve Martin just a few hours ago. So you can go back and check that out on the Movie Hero Network. And then yeah, we decided to go ahead and do a Michael Madsen tribute episode, but 2 weeks from now. It doesn't need to be like an emergency episode next week, but we are going to pay tribute to rest in peace Michael Madsen, who passed away today. Great character actor, and good stuff. So we'll be covering Kill Bill Volume 2. So we're going to be doing. He has more of a prominent role in Volume 2. We'll touch on Volume 1, but definitely Kill Bill Volume 2. Another one of his more famous roles, because we just did Reservoir Dogs coincidentally just a few weeks ago on Willow Movies, so we can't do Reservoir Dogs because we already did it and spun it naturally. So that was just an odd coincidence. So yeah, we'll talk some Michael Madsen and Kill Bill. So that's what we got coming up. So again, next week here on Lonely Marks, hopefully the full crew will be back at full strength. Jake will be here. JPO will bring some graphics. We'll do some predictions for All In. I'm sure we'll run down plenty of all the other cards for the weekend. We'll run everything down. Everything should be pretty finalized by next week. We'll run that down. It'll just be a giant preview episode talking about all the wrestling shenanigans, which should be a very busy wrestling weekend. Busy and exhausting wrestling weekend. But it means we'll have a whole lot to cover the following week as well. We'll have to run down so many shows. So it'll be a big, giant review episode. But it'll be fun, though. I think we'll have a good time. A lot to talk about. So we'll cover it up there. We'll wrap it up for now. So that'll do it for tonight. So until we see you guys next week here on the Lonely Marks, so for Richie Goodacre, for JPO, Mr. Jordan Owens, I am Austin Pez Howell, and we'll see you guys next week here on the Lonely Marks.